Okay, students, this is going to be a quick review on how to use the Ventura College library resources. And I'm going to be very specific about that. I'm going to only show you how to use the library resources, which would be only targeted for this particular course and for any kind of psychology literature review. However, the library itself does offer a range of different videos on how to use the various resources there. But right now, we're just going to target this toward literature review because this is a very important aspect. Literature review is a very important aspect of psychology and doing research. I want to emphasize, especially after you've seen or read chapters 1 and 2, and perhaps even 3, that the source of information, one source of information, especially when one is dealing with questions of a scientific nature or just a, hey, how does that work or how does that happen or what would be the result of this, would first be to look at whatever the empirical literature is out there. Uh, uh, and I want to emphasize that instead of, let's say, you going to some social media site or Facebook or Reddit or Quorum or whatever, or asking a friend, instead, do some research first. And so this is going to be an entrance to looking at scientific research uh, and at all that is relative to all that is psychological. But again, there's so much data and there's so much research out there that is qualified and peer reviewed that you can review and read and get an accurate account of exactly how or not exactly really, but a better account of how whatever your question is. And this is how we started the course, as you'll remember, is I had you think about, hey, why does that happen? Or why does this happen? Or what's that all about? So the idea here is to find out what it's all about. Now, next week, if you've read ahead on the syllabus, next week, I am going to ask you to use PsycArticles right here to find one peer-reviewed article on adolescent alcohol or drug addiction. The article must have been published since 2010. And what I'll want you to do is to uh, uh, find that article and upload it to me. Now, I'm going to show you that there's far more than just one article on this. So bear with me on this. First of all, just the basic mechanics. Go into Library Resources, VC, and you'll get or should get this page. And you notice along here, along this orange menu bar here, it says New Search, Databases A through Z, eJournal Search, Library Guides, Video Tutorials, which I strongly recommend that you view as well, and browse. I'm going to go into Databases A through Z. And we are interested in PsycArticles. And it's sponsored by the APA, the American Psychological Association. So here's ProQuest PsycArticles here. If I'm going to click it, there you have it, APA PsycArticles. And I have already been experimenting around with this thing, but I'm going to start it fresh. So if I put in, remember that the idea is to find adolescent drug or alcohol abuse and issues involving that. Now, somebody may be interested in almost any kind of uh, of, of area or topic in a huge area of topics. I mean, look. If I just put in here alcoholism right there, that's all I'm going to put in, and that's it. Let's see what we come up with. We come up with 8,982 results, studies of alcoholism. So I think that we probably want to reduce that a bit. And so let's go back. I'm going to go over here to modify search. Modify search. Let it come up. Come on, come on, come on. There you go. And so what I ask you to do is, first of all, is to use adolescent, and let's say here, alcoholism, ism. And remember that I said limit it to articles from 2010 forward. So publication date, all dates, that doesn't work. So we want to go, let's say after this date, and then let's say we go January 1st, then 2010. And so that'll be anything from 2010 or through 2010 on to now. The other thing we want we want to limit our articles to a full text article and peer reviewed. Peer reviewed means that the research before it was published, the research was reviewed by other individuals who have experience also in the area of research methods, the areas of analysis and statistics, or even in the treatment and also not just and also in the treatment of adolescents in alcoholism. So articles that are published are peer reviewed. They're not just thrown up there. They are very carefully reviewed by other people who are also in the field and also published as well. So using this and saying adolescent alcoholism now, so now we've got two keywords. Notice over here it says in anywhere. So if I click that down, I get this pull down menu, and I could say, well, keep it at anywhere. I could say, well, anywhere except full text. So I could leave it at that. I could say all subjects, subject matter heading, identifiers, major subject. I could search by author, document text, more options include various other things which I invite you to experiment with if you so desire. But I'm just going to keep it at anywhere and anywhere. That means that it looks in the title, it looks in the main text, it looks in the abstract, it looks anywhere to see if it can find it. But remember now, we've limited the search to anything after January 1st, 2010, and also we've limited it to only full text articles that are peer reviewed. Why only full text peer reviewed? Because many articles and journals don't provide full text. You have to go straight to them, or this particular database isn't licensed for some particular journal. Different journals charge different licensing fees in order to have full text full text access to their journals. But Psych Articles has quite a few articles available to it, like hundreds of them. I'm going to just do this now and see what we come up with. We come up with 2,319 results just for those two search terms. Clearly, we need to hone this down a bit as well, and that is also an area that you've studied in the text and on the PowerPoints as well, and honing down or filtering down whatever the issue is. So let's modify the search. Let's modify the search and add another row, and let's say we go with treatment options. Treatment. Let's just go with treatment. And if we just stay with treatment and look at that, then we come up with not a lot better, 1,838 results on like 1-year outcomes and mediators of a brief intervention for drug abusing adolescents, onset of alcohol or substance use disorders following treatment for adolescent depression. Well, that might be something interesting that you might want to review, like treatment, and then we're going to add another row and put in here depression, because let's say that we want to study, for example, the relationship between between adolescent alcoholism and depression. Then let's do another search, and now that's honed it down even further to 1,172 articles following treatment of adolescent depression. Let's say also now, so now we've got it honed down even more. So let's hone it down just a tad more and add another row, and let's say treatment using, let's just say Alcoholics Anonymous. Notice that I put quotation marks around that because it's two words. Although I think that if I just put in here alcoholics, abusive alcoholics, space anonymous. Yeah, there it is right there. So it comes up for you anyway. And again, I'm going to put, well, I won't put quotations around. Let's see what comes up with that. And again, we've got all of our other parameters set. Do this again, do a search again, and now we have honed it down to 84 results. So that's good. Sobering stories, narratives, self-redemption, relationships among depressive mood symptoms, and parents and peer relations of collegiate children of alcoholics. That would be an interesting one. Impact of depression on abstinence, self-efficacy, and substance use outcomes among emerging adults in residential treatment. That's another one. Difference in spirituality and religiousness among men and women in treatment for alcohol use disorders. There are so many different different avenues that one can take, and I'm sure that some of you have very specific questions that you want to ask, even about alcoholism. You may be curious about a friend's alcoholism. You may be curious about maybe one or both of your parents have had problems or do have problems with alcoholism. You may ask, what is the relationship of the transfer of alcoholism and or drug addiction tendencies from parents genetically, and what perhaps is one's predilection to alcoholism genetically if one or both parents are alcoholic. So what's resilience to alcoholism? I'm just going to pick one of these. But again, and you may as well. However, I would suggest in this particular one that you pick an area that is interest to you, but I do want you to find something that is relative to this only, and then in later exercises like this, you are going to find something that is particularly interesting to you. I just wanted to start with this one so that we get a little handle on how to use this thing. Using peer support. I'm trying to find something that appeals to me. Help seeking alcohol-related problems, college students, clinical outcomes of an integrated treatment for depression and substance use disorders. And this should have adolescents in it as well. I'm rather interested in this one. So I'm going to click on that. And the whole article comes up, full text. Later, we're going to study in some detail the particular areas of any research article, which includes the abstract, the introduction, which isn't mentioned here, the methods, all of the things in the methods, the results, and the discussion for an article. I'm going to go to full PDF here, and you can see here's the abstract, and then it starts the introduction here. And so from there, I'm going to download this article. I'm just going to press download, and it comes up here. And I'm just going to say, What was the article's name again? Gee, I forgot. Hang on. I have to go back over here. I'm going to copy it like that, and then copy. And now I'm going to go back up here to download. And there it is. Now, clearly, that is not going to make much sense, because that's just a code of the where it was how it gets cataloged. So I pasted in instead the full title, Clinical Outcomes of an Integrated Treatment for Depression, and then press Save, and I've got it now. So and of course you need to save that in a place that you can get to easily, and then whatever that is, I want you to upload that to me. I want you to upload your article to me, and that'll be exercise 2, which is coming up during week 3, which I will make available to you in a day or two. Okay, so here's that article there, and if you close this, you can go back here and you can look at any of the other. You could do some more here if you like, back out of this and go back into, you can also, by the way, I want to show you that when you get into APA standards, you can go cite, press that little cite, and now it shows you exactly how to cite that particular article by the names of the authors, then the year it was published, clinical outcomes, integrated treatment for depression and substance use disorders, and that is in the Journal of Psychology of Addictive Behaviors, and it is in, let's see, 24, so let's see, that's the 24th, that's the 24th publication, volume 3, pages 453 to 465. And then it also tells you where you can find it as well. So we're done with that. And that's really about all. I just want to show you how specifically to use the Vitur College database so that we can then use this for more and more research. Now, if you are thinking of going on to graduate school, this is something that you will use extensively, and that is going and doing literature reviews, especially if you're going to go further ahead and get maybe a master's or a PhD. You will probably have to do a master's thesis and or a PhD dissertation, doctoral dissertation, and then all of this stuff is going to almost become second nature to you. But at any rate, just this basic stuff here is what I wanted to show you, and I hope that that is all going to be helpful for you. And based on that, I think, let's see, this is 19 minutes so far. I think that's long enough to talk about this for the time being. And we'll just sign off for now.